two different sources. One I want to take you to now is the outline. Since some of you have computing devices with you, I'd like you to take a look at this outline that I made for me that also you can use yourself. To get there, we're going to go to my blog, which is robztraining.com. My last name, of course, is Zdrojewski, so I don't expect anyone to be able to spell that. So I shorten it up, robztraining.com. You'll see the first entry here is our Digital Day event. And within there, I have a link to the Google Doc outline, which is right there. View my presentation online. Outline is a Google Doc here. So if you click on that, you will get yourself to the same outline that I'm going to be referring back to as we progress today. And my contact information is up there also if you are interested in that. So today we're going to look at 5 different apps. But before we look at any apps, let's look at the accessories that you might want to use if you're using any video production with iPads. My first and foremost one that I like the best, as I remove the smart cover there, is called the Handy Holder. How many people have an Easy Pass on their car? Okay, the Velcro that use that is very similar to the Velcro they're using here. This is a $39.99, $40 adapter, where this Velcro matches up with the back of the iPad right here. So that means it's universal. This could be the iPad mini, the full-size iPad, an Android tablet, you name it. It's basically just adhesive that sticks right on there. You have to, this is the tricky part, line up the 2 circles together nicely and click on. And now it is a rotatable, as you can see, the iPad now can rotate in any portrait or landscape mode. And it is going to take 120 pounds of force to rip this thing right off of there. So you could use it also for playing ping pong in class or whatever. And it basically is an appendage to your body now. So the iPad is now a part of you. They also make one for your leg strap. Anybody know why? Any pilots in the room? Airline pilots are using, both commercial and personal, are using iPads for their maps. So they have the strap that fits on your wrist or your leg, rather than you can use it that way. Also, one of my administrators who uses an iPad wants to get one for his leg, so if he has a meeting, he can just go like this, type it in, and then just keep walking down the hall with it. So it becomes a very cool device to have, but I like it because it just gives you that ability if you're a teacher using this thing all day. It's just a part of you. And when you're holding it for video recording purposes too, it seems to give a much smoother experience, less jiggling as if you're holding it with your bare hands. The next one I have is the Pivo Perch stand. I have one of these in school and one at home since I was sick of bringing it back and forth. And as you can see from the small one, if I can get you a better picture of that there, it is a nice aluminum stand that sits on a countertop, and it also is adjustable for this angle. Yes, question, sir?
Do you like that particular handheld more than the one that's a strap also protective case?
Yes, because the strap would not allow you to do this, right?
It does. Yeah.
It does let you do that?
And that includes the use of a protective case.
That's correct, yes. I don't use a case on mine. I just use the smart cover so that I can just do the snap-on that way. But there's probably at least 200-300 different options to look at. This one is the one I came across because I wanted the rotating piece. Probably that one didn't exist when I was looking for it. But now that it does, it's a good accessory to have. The Perch here is good because the angle changes. When you're recording things on iPads, especially if you're sitting at a table, you need this capability to tilt up or downwards. And that has a rotatable piece that lets you do that, as well as go in portrait mode forwards and backwards. So we use that all the time to FaceTime the grandparents and whatnot, using FaceTime at home. I also use it in the classroom as kind of a podium when I'm using that to teach in front of the class. So that's another awesome accessory to have, especially for video production. And then we get to the iRig microphone. This is the world's first condenser microphone for Apple devices, for iOS devices. And I have one here. When you are creating high-quality audio, the built-in mic is only good if you're maybe 5 to 10 feet away. If you're farther than that, it might sound like you're a little bit in a hollow room, especially in a classroom environment where I teach, 20-some kids all talking. It picks up a lot of the noise. This isolates it because this microphone actually has, I can push it down that way, has a sensitivity switch on it for high, medium, or low. So depending on what you're recording, if it's a loud, say loud instruments and you want to really mic it down, or a quiet room and you can mic the sensitivity up, you have the instant control on here. This plugs into the headphone jack, and on the back of it here is a place for you to plug in your headphones. So you can simultaneously be listening to the quality of the audio, maybe while you're playing with the sensitivity switch, and have this as more of a professional-grade microphone. As you can see, I have kind of a professional look, one of these little microphone flags. You could buy these for about $10 to $15. We put our little logo on it, and then we have a little 99-cent windscreen, and the kids feel like they're a real reporter when they get to hold the mic and use that professionally. Yes? I don't, but I know they make some. And going along with that, the challenge usually is, where did I put it now? I must have put it back in the bag. You need a special kind of adapter to be able to plug in these commercial-grade or professional-grade mics. They sell an adapter for about $20. If you just want to contact me through email or Twitter, I can send you that link directly for those of you that are going to use professional mics, but there are ways to bring in those XLR mics or professional-grade mics to the iOS devices also. Dual mics, you would just use a splitter, a two-way splitter, a 99-cent little Radio Shack splitter, and then you could use two. I haven't used two iRig mics yet, but that would be a good experiment to try. Blue, the company is called Blue. They make microphones. I would look there first. They made a lot of microphones for desktops and laptops, but I think now they're getting into the iOS market. That's one place to try. But if you had a need like that, I'm thinking I would use, like in our TV studio, a mixer, where with that mixer I could hook up multiple mics. Maybe one over there for that group, and then one over there to this group, and I'd have a mixer to be able to choose which mics are working, and then hook up the mixer to this device. It could be a way to bring in even audio from CD players or other iPods, too. You could bring in lots of audio sources that way. So that is my top 3 accessories I would like to recommend for that. And now let's dive into the first one. First one, how many people have heard of iMovie? All right, that's the Apple-made and Apple-promoted app for video production. I'm going to, well, I'll give you a demonstration of the basics in a moment. Purpose is just a simplified timeline-based app. So you have the ability to drop on tracks and then trim them up and put them back to back. I can't go through all my links here because I know I won't have time today, but if you're interested, you can check out the differences between iMovie on a Mac desktop versus iMovie on iOS. It is different. It's not the same experience, and this will cover some of the comparisons between it. As far as the movie trailer features goes, anyone use the movie trailer feature? What I'm going to show you is a small subset of what iMovie can do. The traditional idea is you have a timeline, you drop your tracks on the timeline, and you edit them. That is time-consuming because you have to choose which clips, you have to choose what content you want within the clips, so that takes a while. They've streamlined the process by adding in, I'd say maybe about a year and a half or two ago, the movie trailer feature, where it's a wizard concept. You drop in the clips, and I'll show you here. Easier to show it this way. You drop in your clips. It puts in transitions. It puts in titles for you to make a nice little concise project. Now, I'm going to show you a finished product before I do the demonstration because I think it'll make more sense here. This is I made this video to achieve a grant, which we did not win, but this was a little promotion of what our Tech TV studio is at Amherst Middle School. So the concept here is in under 60 seconds, I tell this digital story so you feel like you know the studio. You've been there. You know what goes on in 60 seconds or less. There's a lot of fast-moving paced media in this presentation. Let's see if I got audio here too. So here it goes. I don't know if full screen will work. Total time to produce that, I would say, was less than 15 minutes, maybe even less than 10 minutes once you learn the process. So I want to show you that process now. Get us out of full screen. What I'm using will stay online, as well as this. By the way, this presentation is being recorded right now. I'm wearing a mic. The Kodak camera is right there. My plans are to edit this together so you can see sometimes that screen and sometimes me, depending on which is which. So robztraining.com, if you're interested in catching that later, is where I shall have that live. All right, so now to the iPad. Looks like I have to wake it up. I'm using an app called Reflector, which earlier today in another presentation was a similar one called Air Server, I believe, Air Server. In order for this to work, though, both devices have to be on the same Wi-Fi, the way to put it. And as you can see, you have about 10 or 12 different options here of the type of one you want to go with. You can hit play and see a little preview of what it looks like. And they go through, with sample footage so you understand if that's the one that you want to use or not. Okay, so let's say that's fine. I'll go with that. I hit create. And now they give you a storyboard view where you fill out the names of the characters here, mostly for the opening and closing credits. And then on the storyboard view, you have, as you can see, places to fill in content. So if this was one of the videos I wanted, I would say, for this clip, use that and put it in there. And now it uses that piece of content at that moment in time. You just basically fill it out. It actually suggests you make a wide shot, a medium shot, a tight shot, a group shot, and it makes those suggestions for you. And then in the end, you have a video with the transitions already put in, the music timing out just right to match those transitions. It's pretty amazing how they've worked it down, the science of that, to have it look like a very professional video where you, the creator, has just chosen the shots and maybe put in the titles differently. So that's the basic workflow on that one. I don't want to go too much more time on that because I'm going to get on to our next app, which is... there's an export button. Camera roll. I put it right to the camera roll, so then it lives on the device. From there, email it out. Well, put it on YouTube is the easiest way. My suggestion was Google Drive or Dropbox, because once it's on the camera roll, you can put it in Google Drive or Dropbox and now get to it on any other device. That's probably the easiest way of doing it. Email, you're limited to file sizes and length, so email's not always good if it's a longer video. All right, back to here. If I had more time, I could troubleshoot that wireless issue. I know it, and have it working better, but we'll keep rolling here. My next one to look at is one of my favorites, Videolicious. Now, Videolicious is a free iOS app. It also now exists on the Mac store. So if you are tied into Mac desktops or laptops, you can use it there. Let's show you a finished project, and then we'll show you the workflow on how we created that project. Today I'm going to talk about the progress bars in Edmodo. In my classroom, I have a procedure. Beginning of class, kids come in and log right into Edmodo, and they pull up these progress bars, which are a visual indicator of where they're at in the course. Since I run a differentiated classroom, every student's working on a project, but not always the same project at the same time. So this way, it gives them kind of a refresher at the beginning of class to see what was turned in, what wasn't turned in, what feedback did the teacher give me, and so forth. So I really like this now because I feel like the students have ownership of their own progress, and they can keep track, keep themselves updated each day, and the parents too, because the parents have the ability to check their Edmodo accounts too. Before this existed, before Edmodo, I couldn't do this. I simply had a paper gradebook sitting on my desk. Kids have to come up and say, what project am I on? What should I be working on next? Can I redo that? And now I feel like with Edmodo, this tool lets me manage things much, much more efficiently. And nobody gets any surprises at the end of the rotation. Everybody's always kept up to date on their progress. So I feel like this really empowers the students in more of a project-based learning classroom, I guess you could say, is what I'm running here, through the use of a tool like Edmodo. So that's my blog post for today. If you're interested in seeing more, my blog is robztraining.com. You can check out other stuff that we're doing with it. All right, so I'll stop it there. So the basic idea is you put yourself in your own videos. You choose from the camera roll items, which would be photos and or videos, and it puts in the background music for you, puts in the transitions. The only thing that it doesn't put in is that lower third there that you're seeing. I cheated a little bit. I brought it into iMovie and I did it there. But it puts all those pieces together for you, so the hardest part is telling your story. What am I going to tell? What photos am I going to choose? What videos am I going to choose? But the technical end makes it easy. Now, fingers crossed, I'm going to try an experiment, see if it works. If not, so I can avoid using the dot cam. It's still very sluggish. There we go. Got it. All right, good. That's what I wanted to see, but it's going to be sluggish. What I'm doing is I'm using my iPhone as my portable hotspot, but there's a lot of wireless congestion going around this building with all these different networks, so yeah, it's moving for me, but you guys aren't seeing it there. All right, we'll switch to the dot cam. Yeah?
I was just wondering, I kind of missed that Edmodo. You're using Edmodo in the classroom.
That's right.
How are you using it exactly?
Edmodo, the best comparison is it's Facebook for schools. So it's a way for the teacher to student communication, but not student to student because of possible bullying there. Edmodo is a smart tool that they've engineered based off the premise of how social networking works like Facebook, but it's basically a learning management system. The higher ed folks might know it that way as a digital or learning management system. That's what Edmodo is. We at Canisius College decided not to use Angel, primarily because when I was a student here, not too long ago, a year or two ago, I was not really liking Angel that well. I was a classroom teacher, of course, using Edmodo and thinking this is light years ahead of what Angel can do. So I said to Dr. Lacara here in the online ed tech program, what if our program that's teaching teachers, we use Edmodo and we don't use Angel? So we started that, and I would say, Ron also teaches in the department, we'd never look back and go on a tool like Angel. It's a night and day comparison. Edmodo is great. So easy to put links up there, photos, videos, have a Dropbox for turn-ins, turn-on assignments, text message alerts. It just has so many more features, and it's mobile device friendly. So that's a little plug for Edmodo, and that's how we use it, basically. In my class, we live in Edmodo. That's the first thing the kids do when they come to the room each day is they log in, they see their progress on all their assignments. It's a differentiated classroom, so not everybody's working on the same project at the same time. And Edmodo is the tool that lets us do that. And it's free. That's the best part, of course, of all, is that it is free. So what I'm showing you guys here now is Videolicious. 3 basic steps. Let me begin at the beginning. To tell your story, let's step 2, let's go back, go back. All right, I'm going to show it to you from the free version. The paid version has extra bells and whistles, but I'm going to take it right from the basics and show you the free version. So step 1 is to choose your shots for the story you're going to tell. I'm going to tell the story of our Tech TV program at Amherst Middle School. I purposely am choosing that because I have some video footage, video clips already pre-shot. So I'll choose a green screen shot, a teleprompter shot, the lights, and the countdown, and doing the weather. So I'm going to talk about that story in that order that I chose the shots. That's why the order in which you pick them becomes important. So step 1 is done. Now on to step 2. Step 2 is to tell your story. You have options here. If you're camera shy, you can have just your voice be recorded, just a narration. Or you can just not even narrate and not even have yourself in it. Just have the video clips go from back to back to back to back, right down without any narration. It would just have simply music in it. I'm going to go for what I call a level 3. If you're looking at my outline that I have up in Google Docs, I'm doing right now what I call a level 3. There is narration. There is live camera on it. It's the most sophisticated use of Videolicious. So I'll hit tell your story. This might be a little bit crazy because I have to use the document camera here, but generality is you frame your shot in. Imagine I'm doing this on a good angle. And I'm going to hit the record button, bottom left there. It's going to count down for me. I'll look at the camera. Hi, everybody. It's Mr. Z, and let's take a tour of our Tech TV studio. Now what you're seeing is the 2 guys in front of our green screen wall, which we use each day for our newscasts. Now you're seeing the teleprompter setup, where we have the cameras and all for our visual communicator shows. And our lighting, as you can see above here now, is what we call softbox lighting, which works really well in a TV studio. Our countdown happens each and every day, which is, indicates that the show is ready to begin. And we have a podium shot here where students are able to do last-minute announcements that didn't make it into the script. So now you're back and seeing me again. Hello for the end of our video here. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. All right, so on the fly, I just came up with that speech. My students have to have an approved outline before they can do what I just did, of course. But we could preview it like this, make sure it sounds and looks okay. So let's say we did, and it's good. We're happy with it. We now move on to step 3. Step 3, we get to choose our music. And the free app comes with 9 copyright-free options that you can choose from, all different genres of music. And yes, you can use the music, copyrighted music, from iTunes. It's on your device. They give you that option also. It's possible, but I don't encourage my students to do it because of copyright issues. Now, this next part, I'm really happy to say this is here because I suggested this in the version 1 of this app, and when version 2 came out, they included this feature. We have the slider. This is more voice, less music, and this is more music, less voice. So you have to find that happy medium. You kind of hear both. Let's say about there. So hit save. And now it will let you preview it with the music. Add it in there. All right, so let's imagine we just watched the preview here for 30 seconds. We can even add filters so that it adds kind of different colors to it. Just a little gimmicky thing, I think that is. We save it. We choose either standard def or high def. I'll choose standard for now. Now, simultaneously, we can, by the way, this is going to put it to the camera roll. But while it's putting it to the camera roll, I can have it email it out, send it on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter. So choose any or all of those options. So that makes it perfect for video blogging in a pinch, in a quick moment. And now it's rendering that video out. It's combining together my narration, the music. And if you have, I used all video clips, by the way. If you used photograph clips, it would add slow motion, like slow movement, panning to those to make it more visually appealing. And it actually would rise the music level while nobody's talking, and then lower it when I am talking. So it'll adjust up and down. Now, the latest version of the app does that. It'll do that. So I can hit play, and you'll see the entire thing from start to finish. But we are running very low on time, so I'm going to keep on moving here. And that's the basic premise of the Videolicious app. A little story to tell with the Williamsville guys right here. I was going to send Patrick an email because we're using a new product called Wirecast, and I was going to talk about the new cables I have to connect to the laptop. I started typing that email thinking, wait a minute, how's he going to understand which connector to which port on the computer, and how's that going to... So I thought, wait a minute, I'll just pull out my iPhone. I took a couple of video shots and a couple snapshots of the setup, and then I looked at myself in there and I said, hey, Patrick, this is Rob. I'm going to show you what I just discovered. This works much better than the project we talked about before, and then blah, blah, blah. So I made that in one planning period, which is 42 minutes at our school. So I went from conception of the idea to producing it to sending it to him all within one class period. And that's the beauty of this, is rapid production is possible with having everything integrated within the device. No extra microphones, no extra cabling, transferring of files back and forth. It's just all done within Videolicious and iMovie. Yes. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing is I am the gatekeeper with this stuff getting online. The students use either their iPad or their iPhone or their iPod Touch, whatever the device is. They have to bring it to me to get it uploaded to our SchoolTube channel so that it lives online. We don't use YouTube for our stuff, by the way, because our school blocks YouTube. But we put everything up on SchoolTube. I'm the gatekeeper, because it has to come through me. I have to be the one to upload it. So it's never happened. But if a student was trying to sneak something through that wasn't appropriate, I would catch it upon that process of reviewing it with them and then uploading it. Plus, another thing is we put our stuff in Edmodo so the classmates all see what's going on. And they, I'm sure out of 100 kids, at least one of them would alert me if there's something questionable there that somebody else tried to put on our class wall. So checks and balances like that are in place for things like that. Yes. You could, technically, but because it's blocked in our school, I avoid YouTube altogether. What I do is I hook up the cable, the 30-pin connector to it, and I physically will connect the cable to my machine, and I will upload it as if this, when you hook one of these up with a cable, it treats this like it's a camera, like a digital camera. So I browse through it, and I look for the appropriate file, and I upload it to SchoolTube. No app, just on our Windows machines that we have at our school. Yeah. That's correct. Yep. It looks like you just plugged in a flash drive, like a SD card or a USB flash drive. It treats it just like that. So then I open up the web browser, and I go to schooltube.com, log in, and I upload it from there. So that's I mean, you could do it through Dropbox and Google Drive and all these other wireless options, but I've just found I like to be at that last step of the process so I get to see what's going up online before it goes up there. Yes. We do it with iPod Touches a lot, too, but it works with iPad as well. Yep. Windows XP, by the way, is what we're using, so I'm not sure if other versions of Windows are going to treat it the same way. So that is a quick look at Videolicious. The next one I have for you, probably the last one I got for you here, is called Coach's Eye. Actually, I'm going to jump past that one. I want to show you Ask 3, because I'm really excited about Ask 3. This one gets to do more with screencasting. You're not going to see me with any live video. This is totally using a recordable whiteboard surface here. And let me search for it, Ask 3. This is version 1.0. It just came out a couple of months ago. And the concept is this. You create, using a recordable whiteboard, some thing that you're recording. Okay? Now you save it there. Your students will watch it. But the question is, there's a lot of apps that do this, by the way. The question is, well, how do the students ask a question if somewhere along watching the video, a question pops up? And they're at home, so they can't really contact you right away. It's not like they're in class doing this. This now answers that problem with two-way communication, two-way screencasting. Thank you. So let's look at one that I made already on the bulletin board here. Let's see. I will go to this one, Rules and Patterns in Math. Bad example. Next one, let me try here. This is from one of my grad students. OK, so you see at the bottom here, there's a timeline. At this point in the video, Megan made this video, by the way. She then thought to herself, wait a minute, I forgot something. So she brought the timeline right to that spot. Oop, come on back. All right, so she dragged it there. And then she recorded a video. I responded back, I see your video, and replied, thanks for trying this. And then Kevin, someone else in the class, wrote back, wonder how you got to make a video reply. I'm going to tell Kevin exactly how we made a video reply by doing that right now. So I'll tap on his comment, and notice I have these two icons. I can reply back in words, which is probably quicker, but I think it's more effective to make a video to tell Kevin exactly how to do that. So I'll hit record. And hello, Kevin, I'm now recording, and I wanted to tell you, this is how you make a video. You can now draw on top of something else that was there. And in her lesson, the ACC is an important acronym that she wanted to point out. So do make sure you look that up when you review your lessons tonight on what ACC stands for. Thanks, Kevin. Bye-bye. All right, so I can give it a title of what that just was, blah, blah, blah. Pretend that was a real title. And now I hit upload. So now my response is tied in there. So if the student is now watching a video and they run into trouble, they can post a question or they can post a video about your video there. And the conversation can keep going. It doesn't end there. So this really helps if the teacher did their lesson in class, all the kids are at home now with their iPads, and someone's having trouble with, well, what was that fraction to decimal? How did that work? They put the question in. Chances are some other student in the class is going to answer that before the teacher gets to it, unless it's a teacher that's always plugged in. Someone in class will do that. So now the answers aren't always coming from the teacher. The answers are coming from anyone in the learning community, which is comprised of both students and teachers. So yes, there are plenty of apps out there. The one I like is Educreations. There's Show Me. There's Doceri. There's Explain Everything. That's the big one. It has a lot of features. They all do this recordable white canvas recording one-way street. Ask3 now takes it to another level because now you can go back and forth. And I do have that on my, switch back over to the laptop here, links to all of that information in the Ask3 app. If you're interested in knowing more, check out the demonstrations here by Troy Stein. He works for TechSmith, the company that makes the product. He does a great demonstration of why it would be used in, I think, a foreign language class and a science class. I highly recommend that. I have a blog post I made about Ask3 just a couple of days ago. You can check that out. And then the apps we didn't get time for today, Coach's Eye. Basically, it's a video analysis app. You could record motion of something and then play it in slow motion and draw on top of the screen. Like the Sabres game, when they get the score, you could play it in slow motion. They draw on top of the screen. You can do that now with your iPad. You can even pinch and zoom in to see something up close. I have my students do that where they analyze the proper way for posture on a computer, proper way to do a push-up, how to tie your shoe, and they play it in slow motion and they draw on top of the screen and they make telestration projects that way. And then that's S3. And then Educreations is the recordable whiteboard app. I have to show you this because this is a plug for my daughter's first grade teacher. We're doing a little pilot test right now. Our school is not a iPad, I don't want to say iPad friendly. We don't have iPads issued by the district, but a lot of teachers have their own. So I worked with Mrs. O'Donnell on this to use her iPad to make these little screencasts to help the parents help their children at home. So this one here was about telling time. She used the Educreations app on her iPad, probably about 5 minutes, and then emailed it out to the blog because these iPads are very good about emailing content out. So now you click. What you can do is view it on any device, including desktops or laptops or mobile tablets as well. And you can hear exactly how she wants the student to learn this concept. Now, the real reason for this, by the way, the story about how this came about, my daughter came home, was doing homework with my wife, and my wife's saying, well, we do it this way. And she goes, no, Mommy, they didn't teach us it that way. This was with a math example, this whole new math that we do in school. And so my wife was emailing the teacher. Still, the communication was cloudy there, so then she called her. And I'm thinking, this teacher has to email and call us. My child's 1 out of 21 kids in this class. That's a lot of work for the teacher to have to call and email all these parents. There's got to be an easier way. And I had the iPad, and I thought, why not just use this to do your lesson, send it up in a public place, and now parents at their choosing, and kids too, can go on after hours and look at this and learn, okay, that's how we solve the problem. That's how we do it. No phone calls, no emails, all done this way. And because it's on a blog, the parents will subscribe to the blog, and the information flows to them. I have a lot in my head, and it's hard for me to remember. Go check Oakley's blog from her teacher. I'd rather have the information be sent to me, so I subscribe to it. I maintain my email address if it changes. The teacher doesn't have to do any of that stuff. So one button, export to the blog, and now the lesson is up there ready to go. That has been my time, guys. I had a million more other things to show you, but half hour goes by very quickly. Thank you. I'll be around if there's any questions, too.